Take a breath, hold it. You have 5 seconds. That's how long the oxygen will be gone. Just 5 seconds. It doesn't sound like much, does it? 5 seconds is nothing. A sneeze, a yawn, a heartbeat. But when every single oxygen atom on Earth vanishes simultaneously for exactly 5 seconds, those 5 heartbeats become the most destructive 5 seconds in human history. You think you'll be fine holding your breath. You're wrong. Because this isn't about breathing. It's about chemistry, about physics, about the fact that oxygen isn't just the stuff you breathe, it's literally holding our world together. And when it disappears, even for 5 seconds, everything changes. Instantly. The moment it happens, you won't notice at first. Your lungs still have oxygen. Your blood still carries oxygen. You've held your breath longer than 5 seconds before. No problem, right? Wrong. Because while you're holding your breath, the world is ending around you. 1 second. The sky changes color. Not dramatically, not obviously, but if you're looking up, you'll see it. The blue drains away slightly, becomes more purple, more violet. Because the sky isn't actually blue, it's the scattering of sunlight through oxygen and nitrogen molecules. Remove 21% of the atmosphere instantly, and the color shifts. It's subtle, beautiful, almost like Instagram put a filter on reality. But it's not Instagram. It's the first sign that the atmosphere just collapsed. 2 seconds. The air pressure drops. Catastrophically. Oxygen makes up 21% of our atmosphere by volume. Remove it instantly. And atmospheric pressure falls from 14.7 psi to about 11.6 psi. A drop of roughly 3 psi in an instant. Your eardrums feel it. That weird pressure change, like taking off in an airplane. Except violent, sudden, painful. Some people's eardrums rupture immediately. Blood trickles from ears across the planet. But that's minor compared to what's happening to buildings. Every structure on Earth was built assuming normal atmospheric pressure. Skyscrapers, houses, cars, planes. They all have air inside them at 14.7 psi. The outside pressure just dropped to 11.6 psi. The pressure differential is now 3 psi, trying to push outward from inside every sealed space. Windows explode outward, millions of them simultaneously. The sound is like the planet itself shattering. Glass rains down on every city. Doors blow off hinges. Walls crack. Anything sealed, anything at all becomes a pressure bomb. 3 seconds. Aircraft fall from the sky. Not because the engines stop, they do. Oxygen is necessary for combustion. But that's not the immediate problem. It's the sudden altitude change. Planes fly at 30,000 feet where the outside pressure is already low. The cabin is pressurized to simulate 8,000 feet. When oxygen vanishes, the pressure differential becomes extreme. Fuselages crack. Seals fail. Explosive decompression. Not in the Hollywood sense. In the physics sense. Air rushes out so fast it sounds like a bomb. And then the plane drops. Without oxygen, the engines die. Jet fuel needs oxygen to burn. Every plane in the sky, tens of thousands of them, becomes a glider. A very heavy glider with no engine and passengers who are about to experience true terror. Most won't hit the ground in 5 seconds, but they've started falling. And when the oxygen comes back, the engines try to restart mid-fall. Some will. Most won't. The death toll will be in the hundreds of thousands. For seconds, combustion stops. Everywhere. Every fire on Earth extinguishes instantly. Candles, stoves, campfires, forest fires, house fires, industrial furnaces, internal combustion engines. Everything that burns needs oxygen. Remove oxygen, and combustion is impossible. Your car engine dies mid-drive. Traffic lights still work. Electricity doesn't need oxygen. But every vehicle with a combustion engine stops instantly. Highways become parking lots in seconds. Pile-ups occur everywhere as power steering fails and cars drift into each other. But here's the weird part. When oxygen returns, some of those engines will try to restart. Hot metal, residual fuel, returning oxygen. Some cars reignite their engines spontaneously. Others just sit there, confused drivers turning keys that do nothing. 5 seconds. The oceans recede, visibly. Not much, maybe a foot. but enough to notice if you're standing on a beach. Because water is H2O, 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. When oxygen disappears, that includes the oxygen bonded in water molecules. For 5 seconds, the molecular structure of water destabilizes. It doesn't disappear, the hydrogen is still there, but the chemical bonds break. Water becomes something else, something that's not quite water anymore. It's still liquid, still wet, but chemically different. And when oxygen returns and the bonds reform, the reformation releases energy. Heat. The ocean temperature spikes by several degrees globally in an instant. Marine life, fish, whales, plankton experience a thermal shock. Billions die immediately. Their cells can't handle the sudden temperature change. But you don't see that. You're busy experiencing something else entirely. The concrete under your feet cracks. Concrete is calcium, silicon, and oxygen compounds. Remove the oxygen, and the molecular structure fails. Not completely. 5 seconds isn't long enough for total structural collapse, but enough. Enough for microfractures to form throughout every concrete structure on Earth. Buildings don't fall, not yet, but they're weaker now, compromised. Some will fail later, days later, weeks later, when stress finds the new weak points. And people will die never knowing why. You feel it in your body now, a burning. Not in your lungs are fine. You're still holding that breath, but in your cells, on a molecular level. Because oxygen isn't just in the air, it's in you. 65% of your body mass is oxygen, bonded in water, in proteins. In DNA. When that oxygen vanishes, even for 5 seconds, your molecular structure destabilizes. You don't fall apart. 5 seconds isn't long enough, but you feel it. A wrongness, like every cell in your body just screamed. And then the oxygen returns, exactly 5 seconds after it left. And you exhale. You didn't even realize you were still holding your breath. And you inhale, sweet, beautiful oxygen. You're alive. You made it. But the world didn't. Look around. Every window in sight is shattered. Glass covers the ground like snow. Car alarms are screaming. People are screaming. Blood runs from ears. Some people are on the ground, clutching their heads. Ruptured eardrums. Compromised balance. Look up. Planes are falling. Some are trying to restart engines. Some are gliding toward emergency landings. Some are just falling. Contrails become death spirals. You'll see the crashes later. On the news. If the news is still broadcasting, look at the buildings. They look fine, but they're not. Microfractures spider through every concrete surface. Some buildings are leaning slightly. Others have visible cracks. Give it time. Some will collapse. Look at the ocean if you're near a coast. It's churning, boiling almost. The thermal shock created currents. Waves. And the beaches are covered in dead fish. Billions of them, washed up suddenly. Their bodies cooked from the inside by rapid temperature change. The environmental damage is incalculable. Look at the sky. It's blue again, normal, beautiful, like nothing happened. But something did. 5 seconds of missing oxygen just caused trillions of dollars in damage, killed millions of people, shattered infrastructure globally, created an ecological disaster that will last decades. And the worst part, it's not over, because oxygen didn't just disappear from the air. It disappeared from everything, including your body, including the bodies of 8 billion people. And when it came back, the reoxygenation wasn't gentle. Your cells experienced molecular stress. Your proteins unfolded and refolded incorrectly. Your DNA suffered microdamage. You're alive, yes, but you're not the same. None of us are. In the days that follow, doctors will see a spike in unexplained illnesses, cellular damage that doesn't have a clear cause, cancers developing faster than normal, organ failures in seemingly healthy people. Because 5 seconds without oxygen at the molecular level is like radiation exposure. It doesn't kill you immediately. It kills you slowly, over months, over years. The economic collapse is immediate. Every plane grounded until engineers can certify them safe. Every building needs inspection. Every bridge, every tunnel. The infrastructure of modern civilization is suddenly suspect, and there's no way to check everything quickly. So society slows, then stops. Supply chains break. Food shortages begin within days, not because farms stopped producing, though many did, when combustion-powered equipment failed, but because there's no way to transport food. Trucks are stranded, trains are stalled, ships are adrift. The first world starves within a week. The developing world starves immediately. Governments fall, not from revolution, from irrelevance. When you can't feed your people, power becomes meaningless. When infrastructure collapses, laws become suggestions. When survival is the only priority, civilization is a luxury we can't afford. In 1 month, the death toll reaches 100 million. Not from the initial 5 seconds, from what came after, from starvation, from violence, from the collapse of everything we built. In 6 months, it reaches 500 million. The world population, which took centuries to reach 8 billion, drops by half in less than a year. Not from a virus, not from war, from 5 seconds without oxygen. And the survivors, they rebuild. Slowly, painfully, but they rebuild, because that's what humans do. We survive. We adapt, we continue. But the world that emerges is different. Smaller. Quieter, more cautious, because now we know. Now we understand how fragile we are, how dependent we are on invisible molecules we never think about, how close we always are to complete collapse. This is what happens when all oxygen disappears for 5 seconds. Not a distant possibility, not science fiction, pure physics, pure chemistry, pure consequence. The question isn't whether this could happen. The question is, what would you do if it did? Would you be ready? Would anyone? Or would we all just stand there, holding our breath, waiting for the world to end? Because that's the truth about oxygen. We take approximately 20,000 breaths per day. We never think about it, never appreciate it, never realize that every breath is a gift, a miracle, a chemical reaction that keeps us alive, until it stops, until it's gone, and then we understand. But by then, it's too late. 5 seconds without oxygen. It doesn't sound like much, but it's enough. Enough to shatter glass, enough to ground planes, enough to kill billions, enough to end the world as we know it. So take another breath, hold it, feel it, appreciate it, because oxygen is the difference between life and death, between civilization and chaos, between existence and extinction. And we're only ever 5 seconds away from finding out what the world looks like without it. That's not a threat. That's not a warning. That's just physics. That's just reality. That's just the truth about living on a planet where one element, just one, keeps everything together. Remove it, even for 5 seconds, and everything falls apart, including us.